Hey, this is Mrs. Crone, and I'm here to show you how to download the Sphero EDU app on your Chromebooks and also how to get started with Spheros. The first thing I'm going to mention and the last thing I'm going to talk about is actually safety with our Spheros. These robots are actually pretty durable. But it's important that when we're using them and we set them up on the ground because I'm over 5 foot tall. And if I drop this out of my hand, 5 foot is a long way for a robot to drop. So make sure that whenever we're using it, we are carrying it carefully. We should never chase these around and we should never intentionally run these into anything. We are using this as a learning tool and get to do some cool things with this robot. In order to get the application on your Chromebook, you are going to go to your shelf. So you can see where my arrow is down there. And I'm going to actually go to the Google Play Store. So if this is your first time logging in, you'll go to the Google Play Store. And on here, I'm going to search up Sphero. When I get there, you can see it's a Sphero EDU, EDU meaning education, so Sphero's for education. And I'm going to click install. So now you can see that I can open straight from here, or now if I go to my Chromebook and I take a look at my shelf, I have Sphero EDU right there. Okay, you can see that first it's going to ask me these terms of use and privacy policy. I'm going to agree and submit. Now I'm going to select I'm a school user. And if your teacher has a class for you to join, they'll give you their class code. Or if we're just getting started, we're going to go to Let's Code. Now I'm going to show you how you connect to a Sphero. All right, it's important that when we go up to connect, we're going one at a time. I'm going to go right here and I'm going to click and I'm going to make sure that I have that Sphero bolt. Select that. And then I can kind of just pick a random robot. So let's see what happens when I pick that one. All right, you can see that it says Sphero bolt connected and connected. And even if I want to test it out a little bit further, if I go to where it says drive, I can change the color and make sure that that is my robot, and it is. Now that I'm connected, in order to drive my Sphero, when I'm just going to free drive from my Chromebook, I'm going to click drive. I actually prefer over clicking the letters. I like to toggle this and go to joystick. First things first, before I drive my robot, I always like to aim it. Aiming it allows me to decide which way is whenever I go up that it's actually going to drive up. The Spheros need to be calibrated and aimed before you drive them. So I'll show you what that looks like. And let me show you what happens when I go up. You'd think my robot would go straight up, but it doesn't. It drove that way for some reason. Well, that means I need to aim my robot. So I'm going to click aim. And you can see that there is a blue light, but it doesn't match up necessarily to where this blue light is. So what robots do, these Spheros, is they run away from the blue light. So if I think that is going up, I want that blue light directly behind the way that I want it to go. So let's see if that helped things. So I'm going to drive up. And now she's going the direction that I'd like her to. Now that I have my robot aimed, I like to slow it way down so then I can kind of get used to driving the robot. I can also change the colors as well. Those are your main options that are in Drive. So now I'd like to just briefly show you programs. You can create a program, which is where you can take your Sphero bolt and you can do it in blocks. You can drive or draw, and I'll show you what this looks like. So if I just try that I am going to draw a circle, this is the way that my Sphero will go. And once I have that drawn, if I hit start, my Sphero will do that. All right, so here's a little program I made. So if I click start, got a little bit of obstacle course for, we'll see. Ooh, coming around. And it's also showing me on here what it's completed too. And so they drove in my drawing. The other type of program is blocks. And my suggestion is that you never have your Sphero going faster than 50%. So, for example, I'm going to have it roll. I'm going to have this go at just half speed. I don't want it to go full speed because I might lose it. And then for seconds, depending on where you are in your hallway, it might only be 2 seconds is going to be the longest that's going to be appropriate. And then you can test this out and test it out and press start as you figure out your programming. In the end, in order to disconnect my robot, I am going to go back up here and I'm going to press disconnect, and my robot will be disconnected, and I'll be able to put it back in its charging deck and be able to safely enjoy my Sphero next time. So as I said, I like to end with safety. Make sure that you're using these guys appropriately. You shouldn't be jumping over a Sphero. You should not be intentionally running it into anyone. Your teacher probably has set up some sort of track that you need to make sure that you're staying on. Make sure that you're keeping these safe so you can continue to use your robot and program it and get to know it more.